भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य दिशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय गौरांगिताय जय गौरांगिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की वैष्णव वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna. So we will start today's session by Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So welcome to today's session. This is session number 6 of our seminar series. I'll just share with you the presentation of today. Just give me a minute. Is it visible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. And I am audible?
Audible and visible both.
Yes, good. So welcome again to this. I'm sorry, I wrote there session 5. It is session 6 of Life's Amazing Secrets, the second last session, which is about good and bad reactions, or in other words, laws of karma. So we are here. This is quick recap of what we have covered up to now. First session was Is Gita Relevant Today, where we spoke about the history of Bhagavad Gita, then the background of Bhagavad Gita, its position in Vedic literature, and the authorities who actually follow Bhagavad Gita and recommend Bhagavad Gita, how it saves our time, what are the 10 salient points that we saw that why Bhagavad Gita is relevant today. Then we discussed about contents of the Gita in a very short, crisp, summarized way. 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are there. In each of the chapter, what are the contents? We spoke about that in second session. Third session was Science of Soul, where we studied the ABCD of spiritual knowledge, especially from Bhagavad Gita, the Sankhya Yoga, where we can understand that we are not this material body, but the person actually living within is the soul, and we are soul, just like the driver of a car drives the car, soul drives this body. This body is temporary, miserable place, and there are so many problems related to this body, which were discussed in Vedic Wisdom chapter, where we saw what privilege the Vedic wisdom gives to us, what we can achieve out of study of Vedic literature and following of Vedic lifestyle, how we can overcome the problems of birth, old age, disease, and death, how a solution is promised in Vedic wisdom, Vedic literature. Then we also saw about the 3 kinds of tortures or sufferings other than birth, old age, disease, and death, continuously given to us in this material body, and they are adhyatmic klesh, which are coming out of our own body and mind. Sufferings because of other living entities, where they are called as adhibhautik klesh, and adhidaivik klesh, where higher powers of nature actually inflict some sufferings on us. So we saw Vedic wisdom gives us a way, Vedic lifestyle or yogic lifestyle, Bhakti Yoga gives us a way by which we can actually transcend these miseries and sufferings. So for that there was a spiritual power connection required, and we discussed in the last session yesterday how we can connect to spiritual power. So today we are at session 6, where we will be discussing about good and bad reactions or laws of karma. Ultimate purpose of all religions will be the next and final topic. So I am happy that we were able to cover this much of syllabus in such a quick time. Although each of these topics need a lot of deliberation, lot of practice, lot of thinking, lot of guidance. In a nutshell, we get an idea of importance of these topics, and the depth of these topics can be subsequently attained by the followers. So out of 5 important topics of the Bhagavad Gita, namely number 1, Hare Krishna. Okay, just a minute. I'll switch on the video. Is my video visible now? Just a minute. Again, I will switch on the video. Is it visible now? Because I am able to see myself.
Yeah, I can see you, Prabhuji. I can see you.
Okay. So the presentation is also visible.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So we were talking about these 5 important topics of the Bhagavad Gita, out of which we are at a particular topic. To understand where exactly we are, we will just go through the topics which are covered. In the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada has elaborately explained what are these 5 topics. Number 1 is Ishwar or God. There exists God. Who is God? What is his nature? What are his powers? How he controls? How he makes laws and how he executes the laws? These are covered in Bhagavad Gita in the chapters where the explanations of Ishwar or God are given. The second topic is Jiva or living entity. We are living entities. We are spirit souls. So there is knowledge about living entity. We also touched upon the topic of living entity in Science of Soul. Then there is topic of Prakriti, material nature. So we touched upon this topic in the last session also, where we explained that there is a material world, there is spiritual world, there is this material nature consisting of 8 elements. Spiritual nature consists of spirit, soul. Material nature consists of earth, water, air, fire, ether, and mind, intelligence, and false ego. And certainly material nature contains material world, material universes, and material universes we are able to experience the earthly planet where we stay, and how in material world we keep relationships and how material world is temporary. We saw a little bit about the Prakriti or material nature. Then there is this Kala, time. We saw the influence of time in the last session, that everything is destroyed by time. Our bodies are destroyed by time. This world is destroyed by time. And by the influence of time, our bodies become, weaker. Our bodies become old. Our body gets diseased and finally it dies. So we saw a little bit about time or Kala. Karma, this topic is remaining now. This topic and the first topic also, there is a discussion required at length. So in the next session, the 7th one, where we will be talking about religions, there will be talking about God. So today we will be talking about this session, karma or activities. Basically, this topic, I have listed down the contents of this topic, which we will try to cover not only according to this list, but also little more. So good and bad reactions, good and bad karma, or laws of karma. So basic questions which haunt our mind when we are living our life is there justice in this world? Uh, when we say about justice, we are not only talking about police department of state or country, or we are not talking about judiciary system. We are talking about a higher level of justice. Whether such a justice in nature actually is there or not. We will be discussing about again a little bit about sufferings, although we have discussed about it, but we have to discuss from the karma perspective. So why am I suffering? If there are sufferings, why am I supposed to suffer? Why there are problems in my life also. We'll be discussing that. Then we will discuss the relationship between sufferings and laws of karma. Then we will discuss about what are pious activities, what are sinful activities, and what are the sufferings associated with sinful activities. Then we will discuss about how there is a cycle of sinful life, which is an infinite loop that we have to break ultimately. We'll talk about how to relieve the sufferings, how to come out of the sufferings, and we'll talk about few ways like whether a patch up would work or a little atonement will work or any other method of relieving the suffering is available. Where we will be discussing about whatever we have done in the past, if we come to know about its negative or darker side, and there we know that there are certain reactions we have to face, then how we can overcome those reactions. We will try to cover that topic. And how can we remove from the root all the sufferings, that we'll see. And we'll conclude with certainly some guidances from saintly people or Bhagavad Gita, which can be very useful for us to eradicating all the sufferings. So let us start. How many of us actually feel that this world is a wonderful place? Actually, if we are, in a class interactive face to face, I would have liked to know from each of you that how many of you feel that it is a wonderful place. But this class is online, therefore I won't go and ask each one of you. But let us visit this within our own consciousness. Let us ask our own mind, our own consciousness, our own intelligence, whether this world is a beautiful, wonderful experience, or it's an experience of misery, or there are more miseries, lesser beautiful things, or lesser wonderful experiences, happy experiences. So when we try to analyze our life, we sometimes feel like it appears to be more of a place where there is apparently no control, no justice as such. So the major questions which come up in our mind, very fundamental, foundational, and very profound questions that come to our mind is, why do bad things happen to good people? Many amongst us have heard or are knowing a little bit about good karma, bad karma, or punya karma, papa karma. But we see that apparently people who are good, doing good things, good activities, they sometimes are seen in bad shape. They are sometimes suffering. For example, in our office, there was a case of a person getting cancer. So this person, I went went to the hospital where he was admitted and getting treated. The man's wife, she was wondering that how come my husband got this disastrous disease. Cancer, is not a trivial disease. Of course, nowadays a lot of treatment is available and people get cured. And the person also was, ultimately relieved of the pains. So, but the question was, why this person, the lady asked to me, or was wondering that my husband, he he is such a good man, such a pious man. His habits are so good. Uh, he never eats, animals. He doesn't eat non-vegetarian food because scientifically, or also it is seen that non-vegetarian food is carcinogenic and people get cancer due to eating more non-veg food. So she was wondering how he got cancer. He is pious in his thinking. He is pious in his habits. He is very good at heart. He doesn't harm anybody. He's a very good, well-natured, well-behaved gentleman. How did he get such a disease? Such questions also come to our mind. When we analyze our own selves, sometimes we feel that I am a good man. I am believer of God. I do not harm anybody. Then why are bad things happening with me? In fact, Harold Kushner, there was a person who extensively wrote and spoke about theism, belief in God. But his son got a disease called progeria, in which a person becomes very old very fast. So within say 15-20 years, the person becomes old and he dies. Means his child became old very fast. And he was kind of thinking, how can there be such an injustice with me? Because I have spent my life doing good, preaching about God. And how if God is controller, if God is lawmaker, if God is indeed watching everything, if God is giving justice, if God is judging, he is a judge, if God is merciful, how can he do this with me? Or how can he do this with this child? Because this child, he is innocent. How come bad things are happening with him? How come he got such a disastrous condition? How come he got such a disease? So this is very difficult to understand for especially good people, and they lose faith in God because of this, or faith in any kind of justice. We feel like everything is random. We feel like there is no justice because all these bad things are happening with the good people. So we always see, many times we see that good things happen to bad people. We see that some bad people, smokers, meat eaters, or people who think bad about others, people who do not care about God, they do not care about following any principles. They simply take enjoyment in harming others. They feel enjoyment in pulling others down and stealing others' property, harming other creatures, and doing so many bad activities, bad habits. And they are not at all concerned. And we see that everything is good about them. They are wealthy, they are healthy. Sometimes we see nothing bad happens to them. They live a long life and they have all opulences which we dream of. They become highly educated. They are counted as very intelligent in society. And they simply are enjoying life without any concern, without any thinking of whether something is good or bad. So how good things are happening with them? They are getting into good marital relationships. Everything is going on good for them. They have good vehicle, they have home. But some good men, they are suffering. They are implicated in some legal case. They don't have any property. They don't have any money. So why do these things happen? Then we lose the kind of log bolte hain fir good people start saying that why should I remain good? I will also behave bad. Why should I control myself? I will also behave uncontrolled. So is there a control in this world? Are there any laws? Is anybody watching or policing? Is there control over what is happening? Again, same point I put. Is there a judge ultimately? Is there a reward or a punishment finally? So these questions are there within the mind. And if proper knowledge is not there, it is very difficult to understand. So the second most important point is, are we not suffering? We have to think about our own suffering first, then we will think about the sufferings of the world or sufferings or enjoyments of so-called people. So this point was brought in last to last session also. We become happy sometimes and we become distressed sometimes. So why do we talk about sufferings only? That can be a question that within your lectures in ISKCON, most of the times you talk about sufferings. Why don't you talk about happiness in this material world? We also sometimes feel happy. In fact, many people claim that we are happy. We don't have to, think about birth, old age, disease, death, and all this adhyatmik, adhibhautik, adhidaivik klesh. We are happy. Why are you taking stress? You also live happily. Don't think about anything like laws of karma and laws of nature and control and judgment and everything. Why are you thinking? But we actually, when we see the nature of the happiness that comes to us in the last session, connecting to spiritual power, we saw the nature of material happiness. Even if it is happiness of others, so-called happiness of others, we can actually see that all of that material happiness is limited and it is of temporary nature. We saw elaborately this point in the last session. Can we deny sufferings, birth, old age, disease, death, and adhyatmik, adhibhautik, adhidaivik klesh? No. We saw that how they are called as real problems of life because they are common to all. Nobody wants them, but everybody has to suffer. So all these problems are there and we need a solution for them. Connecting to spiritual power brought out that solution, that we need to connect to spiritual power. But the mind always tries to analyze that why am I suffering? A pious man thinks about this. But an ignorant man, or if we are a good person, for time being, let us assume that I am a good person and I am thinking why bad things are happening with me. I should leave my goodness and there is no reason why should I be concerned about these laws and everything. Let me ignore all of this. So can we ignore them and become happy on a mental platform? Only imagining that I am happy. Sometimes some organizations also say that only happy thinking will make you happy. You just remain happy by thinking that you are happy. Just it's a mental state and you become happy. So can that kind of happiness on mental platform solve our issues, or can we ignore them? There is a very graphic example which is shown here on the screen in PowerPoint presentation, that if you go to a slaughterhouse, there you see a line of goats or line of animals standing, and sometimes you see that animal goat is given a lot of grass to eat, green grass, and that animal is very happy. But if in front of this slaughterhouse, human beings are slaughtered. Suppose human beings line is there and they are going to be slaughtered and they are given the best of the things for eating or enjoying. Can a human being remain happy in that condition? If he knows that he is going to be slaughtered, killed, murdered, for a human being, it's not acceptable, because happiness of a goat, first of all, it's just a kind of beginning of suffering, and it's like a poison coated in sugar. But because this goat doesn't have intelligence, she remains happy in that, in that temporary happiness. She is, trying to enjoy everything, forgetting or not able to understand the impending death or the suffering that is due for her. So material happiness is just a trick like that, and that kind of thinking that by making my mind artificially happy, thinking about nothing, only only making my mind happy by my own endeavor, taking sometimes good people also, pious people also feel that we should feel always happy, and that is the ultimate goal of life, and that is the ultimate of any spiritual path. If I am happy, then whatever I do is correct. Sometimes such speculations people do, and that happiness or that ignorance is disastrous. actually we go nowhere. We achieve nothing. We know that we are spirit souls. We are on a journey of body, and this body is temporary, but we are going to continue even after this body dies. So what would be my destination? Where would I go? Or shall I ignore simply that wherever I go, it doesn't matter? So a thoughtful person doesn't only care of his temporary happiness, but a person who is consciously elevated and intelligent, he thinks about his future. He thinks about a longer perspective, a bigger picture. He doesn't only behave like this foolish goat. So such people who actually do not think of a long distance phenomena or long time phenomena of reincarnation, they actually can remain happy in illusion. कभी कभी हम लोग बोलते हैं कि अज्ञान में आनंद है, but वो अज्ञान का आनंद is coming out of ignorance, and that is not desirable. So anybody has any question on this? Am I with you? Are you with me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. I'll be checking in between because I got disconnected last time. I'll just ask something like that in between. So we'll continue. This happiness.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
my question is, like, we don't know about what will come in future, right? But now this is the time, this is the life. Then why can't we just be happy now?
Right.
I mean, if somebody is saying ki, like, you have to be happy, be it pseudo happiness, but happy, you are
Right.
happy, right? So what is the point not following that, and instead much more bothering for future?
Yes. So we will think it in a very systematic way. We will try to cover this point, and this is the topic of this session. In fact, I am happy that this question came to your mind. Why can't we be happy? Pseudo happiness, let it be. But really speaking, a thoughtful person in that graphic display on the screen, the example of goat, it's a very thought-provoking example. Of course, we have to be happy. That is not denied. In a spiritual path also, we are taught to be happy. But that happiness is not based on ignorance. That is the point. The happiness based on ignorance is going to finish very soon. Because how long this goat can be happy in that state? Similarly, a human being who is endowed with a higher level of consciousness, when he sees a death, for example, Lord Buddha, he was Siddharth. He was Siddharth. Maybe you are knowing the story. In his childhood, he was kept away from all the all the miseries which are seen in the society. He was not shown the society because his father wanted him to be always happy. But ultimately, when he grew up, somehow or the other, he could see all these miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. And when he was strolling in his kingdom, at that time he came to know, and suddenly he became aware that no, I can't be foolishly happy. I have to solve these issues. I have to solve these problems. So one who is aware of birth, old age, disease, death, or all these kleshas, that person once becomes aware, like if that goat becomes little aware, or suppose there is a human being and he, okay. So if there is a human being and he is not knowing that he is going to be killed, and he is given all facilities, he will be happy there. But once he knows that there are these problems, then he cannot remain happy, even though he wants to imitate happiness or artificially wants to become happy. So somehow or the other, we have to get into knowledge. Then only we can become happy. We can't remain happy once we are elevated to the platform of human consciousness. We can't simply neglect it. That is the point. But it doesn't deny that there is a need of happiness even though we are living a spiritual life. So we cover that topic, how we can become happy even after seeing the future. Or how can we escape this situation if that person comes to know that yes, there is a way by which I will not be slaughtered, there is an escape, then we will be happy. If we will not be slaughtered, then we will be happy. Yes, Prabhuji. Consequences. Right. Yes.
Yeah, I want to add, Prabhuji, that material happiness is
Excuse me.
temporary.
My question is, if you are aware that what you're seeing in the mobile is relevant, so where is the question of long term and everything?
Yes.
If you know the relevance, right?
Yes, in fact, Mataji, you have hit the nail on the head that we have to know what is good and bad in this life. So that's why this discussion is there. What use is that happiness which is coming out of the ignorance? I think this point is established now by your discussion also.
Okay.
Yes, fine. Yes. Shall we go ahead or anybody has to add? We'll go ahead then. Fine. So we have come to this point that world, is it a prison house? This discussion has become lively. I am happy. This question we should further drill into because we have to finish it from the root. We have to go to the root of the problem. So world, is it a prison house? In fact, this analogy was given in the last session also. Last to last session also we saw this, that this world is like a jail and there are these miseries as if they are we are in jail and we are inflicted with these pains, these problems. Can we call it a jail? That was the question, because it may appear to be a very negative or pessimistic way of looking at life, that we in this world, this whole world itself is a prison house. This appears to be pessimistic on its face, but actually it has a lot of reality, because in a prison house, whether a thief is very rich man and he had stolen a lot of things, a rich thief or rich man may steal a big amount, and he may steal it from a lot of wealthy people. So a rich man also can be put in jail, and a poor thief also can be put in a jail. A famous man also can go to a jail. A beautiful person may also go to a jail. Whether he is ugly or beautiful doesn't matter. A very highly situated achiever also may go to jail. Similarly, we see that the miseries in this world, they are there for everybody, irrespective of whether they are rich, famous, beautiful, achiever, or so many so-called good things happening in this world. Sometimes there is an analogy that is given of a person, if he is put in a silver cage, where the rods and the जो हथकड़ी पहनाते हैं ना, वो हथकड़ी भी सिल्वर है या हथकड़ी सोने की है और हथकड़ी एक लोहे की है, सभी हथकड़ियां हैं. But if somebody says that look at my hand, I am imprisoned by these gold chains, and somebody says I am imprisoned by this silver chains, but all of them are under chains. They are having problems. So when we say that good people, why bad things are happening, or why bad people are getting good things? Good things, under our impression, our calculation, is richness. Good means being rich. Good means very famous. Good means very beautiful. Good means achiever. Good means good means a lot of knowledge, like a so-called scientist of this world. So all these, or a long period of lifetime, or disease-free life, all of these are good for us. But actually, although they may be good, are they good forever? That's why Bhagavad Gita brings out a very, very bitter truth about this world, this earth, that this is Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. I think this point also might have been discussed, that this place is a place of miseries, Dukkhalayam. Like they say Pustakalaya. Pustakalaya means library, where a lot of books are there and only books are there. And then there is there is Himalaya, where there is a lot of hima, or ice. Similarly, this is Dukkhalaya, means a lot of unhappiness. It is stamped by Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a great literature which is accepted world over. So if Bhagavad Gita says that Dukkhalayam, then it is actually Dukkhalayam, because all of these are not available to everybody. Most of the people are not rich, most of the people are not famous, most of the people are not beautiful, most of the people are not great achievers. These are very rare. And even though these are obtained, all of them are not permanent. That is what is Ashashvatam, means they will end. In fact, more a person is rich, more attached to his wealth, more it is difficult for him when the wealth is taken away from the laws of nature. When he becomes poor, it is very difficult for him to live. When he becomes dead, he has to leave behind his richness, fame and beauty and everything. He becomes more unhappy. So that's why this world, although appearing to be rich for rich people, for famous people, it appears to be good for some time. They are not ultimately, full of happiness forever. So whether we want to take the responsibility of our own deeds, this prison house analogy is very important, because state or a government doesn't want prison house, but they are bound to keep it, because there are certain people who actually do not want to act according to the laws of the state. That option is there. Similarly, God has created certain laws, and people who do not want to follow these laws, they always have an option. God never comes to us and puts a pistol and wants to surrender to him, because the love of the God has that free will, and according to that free will we have a way whether to go by the laws of nature or not to go by the laws of nature. So if in a state a person doesn't follow the laws, then he is bound to go to a jail or a punishment. There is an associated punishment for every violation of the law. So why do we suffer? Because why does a thief suffer in a prison house? Because he has done something wrong. So when this prison house is meant to reform him. Sometimes if a long duration of punishment is there, the government or the president can cut down the punishment if the person is reformed in his behavior, and the government finds that this much amount of punishment is not required now for this person, and his punishment can be reduced. So there is a provision for getting out of the jail before time by becoming reformed. So this prison house is a place for punishment in order to reform the person. Similarly, if a person in this world, like the criminal who became good by following certain laws in the eyes of government or president, he achieved the faith that yes, this person is now reformed. He no more deserves to be punished. By his good behavior, by following the laws in that prison house also, when that person becomes reformed, he is released sometimes from his punishment. So when he takes the responsibility, the thief takes, the criminal takes the responsibility of his misdeed, he becomes favorable for following laws of that state or laws of that prison. In one of the famous books, one of the famous book by Dale Carnegie, he has said, he has observed that sometimes the most ghastly criminals, murderers, most of them, he has observed that they have no remorse, they have no kind of negative feeling about their own misdeed. They do not accept that they did something wrong. And most of the these thieves and criminals, they feel that they were forced to act in a certain bad way because of some other people, because of some situation, and there is nothing bad about them. They do not feel any repentance. For such a person, reformation is very difficult. So person who takes the responsibility of his own misdeeds and then turns inwards and checks his own behavior, he has a greater chance of coming out of such sufferings. So therefore, taking this responsibility, we should know that we are accountable for everything we think, speak, and do. Therefore, we must be aware of the consequences of the activities we perform. Sometimes, in a larger time scale, we have not seen our past activities, past misdeeds. The example of Nilesh Prabhu, if we can carry on, if a student, suppose he is given a mobile, and he's given that mobile to attend his classes online, or for studies, for searching relevant material, and to nicely get in touch with all the world and know everything about his academical background, or for preparing for exam or giving exam online. If he is given a particular computer, laptop or mobile, they must internet connection bhi acha diya hua hai. So when he uses this for playing, say, games for hours together, neglecting his studies, then although he may be enjoying in short term, there are due sufferings in the future. So if his career is gone into a bad shape because of this, then he is responsible for his own past misdeeds. Sometimes it happens that in his childhood, for a longer time, he wasted time. And then after reaching a certain age, when it is a matter of earning a lot of money, there he has not acquired enough skills, he has not acquired enough knowledge, and then he works day and night, works very hard at that point of time, but still he is not able to compete. Then he can't actually say at that time that I am working so hard and I am trying to work favorably for my development of skills, and I'm still not able to get a job, or I am not able to do some business. So there is no point in working hard in this world. Can this conclusion be right? This conclusion will be certainly wrong, because the career is built over a span of time with a lot of hard work. A lot of people have put in their hard work for a long number of years. That's why they have acquired that level of skill, and you are not able to compete with them, even though you are struggling hard or working hard. Your hard work has not come in time. Similarly, the karma also, when it is separated by time, sometimes we even forget what bad things we have done, and what to speak of bad things of the past. We get confused. But when we get accountable, that accountability comes with the knowledge, with the faith in justice. And the faith in justice, laws of nature, comes by knowing them. So karma, there are three types of karma. As most of us may be knowing, there are two types of karma. But actually in Bhagavad Gita, there are three types of karma. We will be focusing more on good and bad today. Transcendental karma, we will sometimes, maybe we will touch upon that also. But karma has good, bad and transcendental. These three types. Good means pious deeds, punya karma जिसको बोलते हैं. Bad means sinful activities, पाप कर्म जिसको बोलते हैं. ट्रांसेंडेंटल प्योर एक्टिविटीज और अकर्म जिसको बोलते हैं, या डिवोशनल सर्विस और योग, प्योर ट्रांसेंडेंटल योग जिसको बोलते हैं. So these three types, good activities are according to the laws which are mentioned. They are not the activities which I feel that they are good are good. It's not like that, because good for some time-based circumstances may become bad in this duality or in this world of happiness and distress. And we calculate good or bad in terms of happiness or distress that we get. But actually sometimes good may be very difficult, and it may land up in a difficult situation also. The path of dharma or the path of piety, punya karma, the path may be very difficult for us on bodily or mental platform. But if good karma is mentioned in the scriptures as good, it is good for all people, for all circumstances, for all time. So it is given by very elevated, conscious, situated, saintly people through their connection with God. They have analyzed good and bad. In fact, it is coming from scriptures what is ultimate good, what is ultimately bad, and what is transcendental. So good, bad, and transcendental are well defined in scriptures. Good activities are well defined, bad activities. For example, what to eat. What is the natural way, what is the law of nature about eating? That is mentioned in the scriptures, and it can be evaluated to be true and good for a longer time, for a higher number of people, for all. How it is good can be analyzed scientifically, and it will be proven as good. So good activities are mentioned, what is good for eating, how one should behave, how one should talk, how one should hear, what one should not see, what one should see. For every activity that we do through our body, mind, intelligence, everything is defined. Good, what is good, that standard is defined. Pap, bad, is defined, and transcendental is defined. Sometimes people get confused. They feel that they are doing good, but actually they may be doing really bad. And it is dependent on the context. One example that I can give is, suppose such a thing happens that you feel that in a prison house, the prisoners, the criminals are suffering very badly. They are not getting good food, they are not getting good sleep because they are not given good mattresses, and they are not having good amount of facilities. And some person, comes out of the blue and becomes the leader, some political leader, and he says that in prison house they should give all facilities. So is it a good work or a bad work? In fact, it is a bad work, because the prison house is meant for punishment to reform those people. How can this be considered as a good work to give them all facilities? Then actually that politician or the leader is promoting bad work, because people will feel that they will get good food to eat, good bed to sleep in prison house. Let us do everything bad. So this is a relative good or bad. It's not absolutely correct good or bad. So therefore, the Vedic scriptures actually give a higher perspective. They are from the person who has created this world. They are coming from him, these definitions, what is good and what is bad. So Garuda Puran, for example, he is spoken a dialogue between Vishnu and Garuda. So they are discussing, Garuda is asking the Lord Vishnu that what is good and what is bad. And their laws of good and bad are defined in that scripture. And when you see actually very deeply and understand, we understand that indeed it is good. Whatever is defined is good is indeed good by our observation also. What is defined there bad, indeed it is bad. Although apparently for our senses it may be difficult situation, but what is good, what is bad. So good, bad, transcendental, all of them are defined. By pious activities, one gets to heavenly planets or heavenly facilities. By bad activities, one goes to hellish planets and suffer there. And by good and bad mixed, almost equal, one comes to earthly planet, which is a middle planet. So higher planetary systems, person goes for enjoying pious credits of his good deeds. Lower planetary system, one goes to impious planetary systems like hellish planets. and in between there is a chance to either go in a good path or a bad path or a path of transcendence. Problem with good deeds is that even after doing good deeds, the account will be finished. We will see about that. So the basics of laws of karma are, first of all, whatever you do, it comes back to you. That is the first point I have not mentioned here, although first point is whatever you are doing, like laws of motion, third law of motion of Newton, whatever action you produce, the reaction is due. The reaction will come, equal and opposite reaction comes. Similarly, whatever we do in our life, whether it is coming now or it is coming after some number of births, the reaction is due to come. It will definitely come. There is no doubt. This is law of karma. This is number one thing to understand. Number two thing is, ignorance of the law is not excused. It is no excuse to escape reaction or punishment. I can't board a train and then say that I don't know that there you have to take a ticket. The TC will catch me and TC has all rights to punish me. I can't say I don't know. If I get into a first class train, I have to show a first class ticket. I can't say I have a third class ticket. I did not know this is first class bogie. They will not listen. Similarly, laws of karma, they cannot be escaped by just ignoring them. Ignorance, or as it is said, just become happy on mental platform and then you will not be punished. It will not happen. Even though you stay happy for some time and do all bad activities against the laws of nature, you are due to be punished. So ignorance of the law is not excuse. Human beings are meant to know it. Nobody can say I don't want to know it. I will simply ignore it. Let us enjoy. Let us not think about it. When we walk on road, when we drive on road, it is compulsory for us to know the laws of driving on road. We can't escape it. We can't say that I get a driving license somehow without knowing any laws. In fact, when you get a driving license, you are tested there. They ask you questions. They ask your knowledge, whether you are knowledgeable or not, they see. And then see how much practically you can actually drive, how much driving experience you have. Are you driving safely? They will see it. So similarly, human beings, when they are living this life, they are meant to know the laws. Sometimes some people give example of an animal. They say that animals don't know anything, and animals actually eat other animals also. So why can't human beings also eat animals, other animals? So they justify like that. But we have to know that animals are not meant to suffer their reactions of their activities, because they act according to nature's instinct, their instinctive reactions, and they don't have enough level of consciousness to understand this karma philosophy. No animal can come to this class, sit and hear and decide whether he is doing good karma or bad karma, because nature has not given them that power. So therefore, according to scriptural understanding, they are not made accountable for their activities. Even though apparently a ferocious tiger can kill a cow, that doesn't give a human being the right to kill a cow. So for human being, enough conscious experience or conscious upliftment is given by nature so that he understands these laws and he is meant to know them, and he is, according to the laws of nature, punishable. Like a dog may not need to know how to go on road. So that's why we see so many dogs dying on roads. They don't know red signal, they don't know green signal. They just go and they just are ignorant. So they are crushed under the laws of nature automatically. And they are suffering their past life karma. This body is meant for suffering the karma. So karma is not applicable to animals. It is applicable to human beings. Good and bad karma do not cancel each other. That is also one important point one must understand. I have done something bad in the past. If I do something good now, my bad karma will be cancelled. It's not correct. Good reactions will come for good karma, bad reactions will come for bad karma. Like if I have taken a loan from some bank, and then I have given some help to my friend. These are two different things. I can't say that I have helped this friend, so this bank should relieve me from this loan that I have taken. Can we say like that? We can't say. We have to repay the loan there. We will get benefit of helping our friend separately. So good karma and bad karma, they are not related. They cannot cancel each other. Good karma also exhausts and finishes. That is the point. Why we should not be concerned much about going to heavenly planets, or why should not we be concerned much about good facilities in this world for living a happy material life. We should not be much concerned, because good karma, like a bank account, will exhaust. If we earn a lot of money and we go on spending that money, one day the money will be finished. So good situation, for example, this question is answered here. Why do good things happen with bad people? Because they had some credit of past good activities in their past lives. Probably we are not able to see it. So real laws of karma, the conception of reincarnation has to be taken into picture. If we don't take this conception of reincarnation, which is scientific, then it is very difficult to understand why do good things happen with bad people and why do bad things happen with good people. Because karma actually goes through all the lifetimes, millions of lifetimes that living entity goes through. Whatever bag of good things, good credits he has carried from past life, he finishes them in this life. So if somebody if somebody takes birth in a very rich family, automatically he becomes rich. So he spends money there because he is born in a rich family. He spends money. But somebody who is born in a poor family, he doesn't have money. So how did this person land into a rich family and that person landed into a poor family? Because they are carrying the credits of their past activities in this life. So they did something good, that's why they have this good results. And after enjoying that good result, the reactions of good result are going to exhaust, they are going to finish. And therefore Bhagavad Gita also says that Shine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti. Once these pious people they enjoy in heavenly planets, their credit, pious credit, their account of good balance of good activities, good karma gets exhausted, gets finished. And then Kshine Punye means after reducing the punya, exhausting the punya, Martya Lokam Vishanti, they again come into this cycle of birth and death. They are already in the cycle of birth and death. They come to the Martya Loka, means earthly planet. So again they come to earthly planet and suffer birth, old age, disease, death. Therefore good karma also exhausts and finishes. Good and bad karma are both binding to this material world. So that's where transcendental karma comes into picture, where we neither do good nor do bad. We do transcendental work, which is highly situated on a spiritual platform. And we the last session, connecting to spiritual power, was meant for giving us that insight as to why it is important to connect to spiritual power. We transcend both good and bad, and we go beyond the duality of good and bad, and we go to a world where there is no good or no bad. There is transcendental. So in spiritual world, everything is transcendental. So why do we suffer? Ignorance or avidya, lack of knowledge. Out of that lack of knowledge, we become implicated into material existence. We feel that material existence is all in all. We cultivate so many material desires. They are called bija. We cultivate sinful activities. They are called papa. We suffer because of the reactions of that papa, which is called punishments. So these punishments are like chronic disease that we get, or we get into legal complications, we get into distress, suffering, we get into some low birth. All these are reactions. Ultimately, they are rooted into avidya. So Krishna, in fact, Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, that you are talking like prajnavanam shabhashase, means you are talking like a very learned man, but a really learned man neither laments for the past or thinks of the things which are beyond his control. So one who is really learned, actually, he doesn't get into shock, or he doesn't get into problems or these sufferings. So sufferings are there, like in this world also. I showed you some sufferings, like legal complications. You get into some disease and all your money is finished, and you have so bad communication skill, or you have so bad ability that you can't earn much money, and you whatever you do, there is no success. Such things happen in this world because of past karma which was bad, and there are sufferings. But in scriptures it is mentioned that the sufferings are also given to the living beings in hellish planets. For example, if somebody is doing intoxication, then he will be put into hell, and he will be given a very hot hot drink made up of boiling iron, and he will suffer like anything. He is given such a body where he will suffer but will not die. If somebody kills other animals, then he will be killed. He will be cooked like what he cooked. So similarly, there are many activities which will, for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So sinful acts ultimately cause us suffering, and sinful acts of us cause us suffering. Not that sinful acts of others we are suffering. We are suffering because we are responsible. So we have done something in the past which is pap, that is our due reaction comes. The due reaction of any sinful action is either unmanifest or manifest. Means it is now visible to us, we are seeing it, or it is due in the course of time, it will come. So they are called aprarabdha and prarabdha. Aprarabdha means which is due in the coming time. It is fixed, but it is due. It will be in future. And prarabdha means it is imminent, now it is being experienced. That is prarabdha. Further, for aprarabdha also, future is you will get prarabdha from that aprarabdha. That is direct physical or emotional suffering. Or kutam means there is indirect suffering by increased sinful proclivity or tendency. We'll explain this further. So this papa, how it, Arjun asks, athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha. Sometimes we know that anichannapi varshneya, a person he does these sinful activities. Anichan means even though unwillingly, I know that this is not good, this is pap, this is sinful activity, but unwillingly sometimes I do that activity. So anichannapi varshneya, baladeva niyojita, as if somebody is forcing us to do that activity. So what is that? Athakena, how it happens? Krishna actually gives the answer that kama esha krodha esha. So the basic root cause of that suffering is kama or lust or anger arising out of rajoguna. So these are analyzed in Bhagavad Gita, how we do papa. So we will analyze it here, how it is the infinite loop, how it is a dangerous, unending loop. First of all, ignorance or avidya is the root cause of the cycle, the starting point. After avidya, this cycle starts. Sinful proclivity or tendency in the heart, we have a tendency which is called kutam. This tendency of doing sinful activities pushing us, that is called as lust or a greed or anger. All these, anarthas, they push us to do certain bad or sinful activities. Then this push actually results in a sinful desire within the heart. Within the heart, we keep a plan of how I am going to fulfill this desire. That is called a beej. जिसका बीज का रोपण हम हृदय में करते हैं कि I am going to act on this tendency of mine. So that is called as beej. Then actually we do that sinful activity. That is called pap. That happens. And then after that pap, an unmanifest reaction, aprarabdha, is created. So somebody in ignorance may think that I am doing so many bad activities and nothing is happening to me. Sometimes we see this bad things, good things happening to bad people. Or even though they are doing bad, how is that they are not getting reaction? So this is unmanifest. Even though it is not seen now, it is due and it will 100% come. Unmanifest reaction then becomes one day manifest, which is called prarabdha. The punishment due for the person becomes manifest by laws of God, by laws of nature, and then the suffering is actually experienced. So this is infinite loop. One thing which is worth noticing here is prarabdha has two reactions. One on the left side, which is coming as a prarabdha, and the another is the sinful tendency increases by, say, for example, by becoming lusty. I become lusty and I cultivate that desire within the heart by thinking and planning about it. And then I actually do a lustful activity, which is sin. And then that activity, pap, has a reaction that in the future, I will get some reaction of my my activity, and also it will increase my tendency to become more sinful, more lusty, and I will become more and more lusty. It is described in Bhagavad Gita that it is like a fire which burns more and more. The lust is like a fire, and when you put ghee in fire, then it becomes all the more increased. The fire becomes so big, and that is what happens with this aprarabdha getting converted into kutam tendency. So this is the most dangerous part of this cycle of sinful life. You become more sinful by acting sinful. So acting sinful creates a reaction of becoming more sinful. So you go on degrading yourself by with this avidya. So one has to break this cycle. The example is, should I steal this money? This is sinful tendency, which is called kutam. I feel, should I do this? Then I actually make a plan that I will steal this money on such and such date. That is called bijam. Then actually I steal it, and then I may get a reaction of judge. I get caught. Police catch me. Then there is a case on me, and then a judge passes a verdict. So I may get into this complicated legal problem. So that is aprarabdha as long as judge doesn't declare the punishment. But as soon as judge declares the punishment, then that is prarabdha, manifest reaction. But what happens is this prarabdha plus tendency to steal increases, and that is the problem. Similarly, for illicit sex, somebody may think, should I enjoy this woman or a man? Then somebody plans, yes, on this date, I will enjoy this. And then he actually tries to enjoy, and then he gets a lot of reaction out of it, which may not be visible directly to him. But then if he gets AIDS, such a dangerous, reaction, then it is called as manifest reaction. So this is cycle of, sinful activities. I hope I'm still connected to you.
Yes, Prabhuji, you are connected.
Yes. So now we have hardly some 12 minutes. We'll try to finish it fast. How to relieve, how to come out of this cycle of sufferings? That is the question. I hope you understood why we are talking about sufferings more, because ultimately happiness also is going to, when it is exhausted, that reaction, it is going to take us back to the life of suffering. So we want to get out of suffering. So that's why we are focusing on suffering. Other thing is the so-called happiness without proper knowledge, as exemplified by that goat, or as was explained through the example that Nilesh Prabhu gave. That happiness is very, very, shallow happiness, and it won't last for a long time. That's why we are saying that we focus on relieving sufferings. Patch-up solution, whether it can help, so-called modern science and technology. So patch-up solution means, can we solve with our modern science the problems of birth, death, etc., disease, old age? Actually, we see that it won't solve. Or on a higher level, becoming happy by doing more good activities according to scriptural guidelines. That is also patch-up, because those good activities will create good reactions. We will become rich with good reactions, and then we will get a happy situation. But ultimately, when that happy situation ends, we are again back to the square of sufferings, or again and again exhausted with doing good activities. The other way that is mentioned in scriptures is atonement. Atonement means I feel remorse for my activities. The scriptures recommend that when I feel ashamed of my sinful activities in the past, and then I take up a particular way of atonement. Like if suppose I have killed somebody in the past, the scriptures mention that if you have killed somebody in the past, this is the way by which you can do, scriptural way by which you can atone for your past sinful activities, and you become morose and you become unhappy about your past misdeed, and then you take responsibility of your misdeed, and then actually follow a process of atonement which is mentioned in the scriptures. That you, for example, you have killed somebody, you don't for that you follow this particular set of instructions. You donate something to this, you build some houses for this, you work for the poor, something like that. So you have a scriptural atonement, and you atone for your sins, and the sins will be eradicated. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam philosophy, this is just like an elephant taking bath in a lake. Atonements are compared to that, because atonement will not remove, although it removes the sinful reaction, it will not remove the tendency. So in the unmanifest reaction, when it becomes manifest, that manifest reaction can be stopped by atonement. But the other part, the proclivity, the sinful tendency will not be stopped, because just like an elephant, when he takes bath, again he goes back and puts on all the dirt on his body. That is how elephant takes bath. He takes bath and goes and again becomes dirty. Similarly, a person who simply takes the path of atonement, he will not be able to finish his tendency to do sinful activities in the next future. So therefore this will not work. Ripping up sufferings from the root requires the sinful reactions, that tree should be destroyed, and it can be destroyed by a process of atonement, but the root cause, the bij, coot, all of that doesn't get removed. You can cut the tree from its root, but again a tree will grow from the roots. So the root cause, if it has to be removed, then there is recommendation. Ultimate recommendation is akarma. Akarma means the third one, transcendental activity. So according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, bhaktir virodhi karma dharma va adharma tahara kalmasha nama sei mahatamaha. It says that whether you do good or bad, according to religious scriptures, both of them are ignorance, because ultimately they bind you to the cycle of birth and death. And therefore both of them, whether they are dharma or adharma, whether they are scriptural guidance about good activity, punya, or avoiding bad activity, whatever, good or bad, both of them are not actually good enough for removing the problem or the root cause of our sufferings. So there is bhakti. Bhakti virodhi karma means it is either good or bad. Good or bad are bhakti virodhi, means they will not give us transcendental benefit. Bhakti is proper way of acting or action. The solution is bhakti. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatranam satam. This is recommendation of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this dharma is separate from the dharma which is mentioned in the above verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita. There in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it is said bhaktir virodhi karma dharma va adharma, that dharma refers to good activities or pious activities. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, since it is Amala Puran, the dharma word used in this particular verse of Srimad Bhagavatam refers to transcendental activity. And if you see the last words, tapatrayo unmoolanam. Unmoolanam means rooting out, taking out from root itself. Tapatrayah means adhyatmik, adhibhautik, adhidaivik klesh. These are the reactions. So these reactions can be removed, uprooted by dharma, which is paramo nirmatsaranam satam. It is based on true, what you can say, true activities of soul. Soul, when it is doing devotional service, devotional activities to Supreme Lord, then the roots of material desires can be destroyed, and they will be destroyed by devotional service. So there is a story, instructive story. We don't have time, but I'll tell it in short. There was a Brahmin named Ajamil who was very pious Brahmin. He was engaged in his pious Brahminical activities. Every day he used to worship according to scriptural guidelines. But once he saw a prostitute in jungle enjoying with a very low class person, and both of them were drunk and they were enjoying each other's company. And when he saw, he got disturbed. The lusty thoughts came in his mind, and then he left his pious way of living, and this material desire which was there within the heart become manifest, and he married with that lady prostitute, and then he left his pious wife, and he started to act in a sinful way. And his sins, as it started, as we explained, that the proclivity of doing sins or the tendency to do sinful activity goes on increasing gradually, and it goes on increasing, and it drags you down to a very, very sinful life. So this Ajamil becomes so sinful that when death came near, he was totally helpless. He became really fearful to see the agents of Yamaraj, Yamadutas, as they are shown here, fearful. They are meant to punish the living being in hell. So they came, they saw that this Ajamil is a very impious person, very sinful man. So they took their prana out of his body and they were taking him away. But since Ajamila had some little bit of past devotional credit to God's devotional service, he had kept his name, son's name, as Narayan, and he called out his son's name at the time of death, Narayan, Narayan. It is seen that at the time of death, usually a person who is dying, he remembers the most beloved object in his life. So he remembered his son because he loved his youngest son so much, and he called out Narayan. By the influence of the names, holy names, Lord Krishna, Lord Narayan, the agents of Narayan, Vishnu Dutas, came from the upper spiritual sky, because by chanting of the holy names at the time of death, one can immediately attain the supreme destination, spiritual world. So making this true, the Dutas of Narayan Dutas, they came. And then there is a famous dialogue between this Yamadutas and Narayan Dutas or Vishnu Dutas in Srimad Bhagavatam. They discussed about what is real dharma and how the chanting of the holy names of Lord, even though uttered once with a lot of pure intent, one can become liberated immediately from all sinful reactions. In fact, the big mountain of sinful reactions was destroyed by a simple single utterance of Lord Narayan's or Lord Holy name. So this is mentioned in scriptures that the holy names are the way of devotional service. They eradicate all sinful reactions of the past. They nullify our sinful desires. They purify our heart. They give complete peace and happiness right from start. They counteract. So the question was whether why should not we be happy in this body also? So this chanting of the holy names, this devotional service, hearing from saintly people, increasing our faith, following the scriptural guidelines as to how we can do devotional service, all of them give us a happiness which is based on vidya. Real happiness they give. It's not temporary, it's a spiritually situated happiness. Therefore, that happiness we actually enjoy, even being in this material world. In spiritual consciousness, when we transfer, we automatically become endlessly happy. So we become connected to spiritual power, in short. And in that topic, I had said that it is starting point of unlimited happiness, which is never ceases, which always is there. It counteracts material tendencies, and most importantly, it uproots all the ignorance. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita therefore indicates to Arjuna that you should give up sarva dharman parityajya. You give up all good deeds according to dharma, and mamekam sharanam vraja. You take shelter of me, you surrender to me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. I will remove all your sinful reactions. Mokshayishyami papebhyo. I will remove all the sinful reactions that we talked about. Aprarabdha, prarabdha, kutam, bijam. All those reactions will go away, Krishna says. And another place, yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Krishna says that any activity that you do for the sake of Vishnu is supposed to be a karma which will leave you, which will relieve you from all the sufferings. Mukta sangha samachara. Whatever activities you do to satisfy Lord Krishna or Vishnu will not bind you to any karma bandhan, to any good or pious reactions. You will be relieved when you act out of devotion. You will be relieved from all reactions. Similarly, lipyate na sapapena. One who is acting in Krishna consciousness, doing his day-to-day activities according to Krishna conscious philosophy, brahmanyadhaya karmani, sangam tyaktva, giving up all his attachments, one acts for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Karotiya, acts means karoti, karma. जो कर्म इस तरह से करता है कि भगवान की संतुष्टि के लिए, भगवान का आधार लेके, लिप्यते न सपापेन, he will never be put into sinful reactions. He will never get, he will not be doing papa. He will be doing only transcendental activity. He will not be getting any reaction of whatever he does in this life. Apparently, it may be sinful, like Arjuna, he killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He killed the other side, Kauravas. So many people were, so many fighters, kings were killed by Arjuna. Apparently, killing is a bad thing. Killing is a sinful thing. But lipyatena sapapena, because he killed for the sake of satisfaction of Krishna, for establishing real true dharma, for establishing Krishna consciousness. So Padma Patram Ivambhasa, like a lotus leaf is untouched by water, similarly sin will never touch the person who is Krishna conscious, who is in devotional service. And the effect of this is Brahma Bhutam Akalmasham. Kalmash means impious credits or sinful reactions or poison. Brahma Bhutam Akalmasham means there is no poison. One who is situated in Brahma Bhuta means one situated in spiritual transcendental life, he will never be undergoing these sinful reactions. Akalmasham, he will not be implicated into this poisonous existence. On the other hand, Prashanta Manasam, he will be very, very peaceful. Yoginam Sukham Uttamam, he will be enjoying a very high class of happiness. Upaiti Shantarajasam, how it is created, how it is generated. It is generated after all our tendencies of sinful activities are upashama. Upashama means they are cooled down. Means we were saying that there are sinful tendencies which are burning like fire. And Krishna says that kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhava. So here Shanta Rajasam means that Rajoguna through which this kama comes will be Shanta, means will be pacified. So we will be pacified, will be purified in the heart. So Yunjannevam Sadatmanam Yogi Vigata Kalmashaha. Vigata Kalmashaha. Again, all the sinful reactions are removed from the life of a yogi, Bhakti yogi or Jnana yogi, Karma yogi. So all these reactions will go away and he will be situated always connected to spiritual power. And this way he will Sukhena Brahma Samsparsham, by him being in touch with spiritual power, Sukham Ashnute, Atyandam Sukham Ashnute, he will obtain unlimited happiness. So this conclusion is this chanting of the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. we spoke about this verse from Kalisantarana Upanishad, that this will purify us. This is devotional activity, pure devotional activity, because Krishna appears through his holy names. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. By simply chanting the holy names, we show our surrender to Krishna. We get connected to Krishna in yoga. So as it was brought out, by surrender to Krishna, all the reactions of the past will not work on us. By taking help of Bhagavad Gita Sar, Shankaracharya, he says that Sukrut Gita Snanam means by taking bath in the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, all the past reactions will go away, all sinful reactions will go away. So by hearing Bhagavad Gita and chanting of the holy names of the Lord in the association of devotees, one becomes free from all sinful reactions, and that is the way of transcendental life. So it is said in Brihad Vishnu Puran that Namno hi yavat shakti papa nirharne hare tavat kartum na shaknoti patakam pataki naraha. Means the holy names of the Lord are so powerful that even chanting one holy name of the Lord will give such a relief to the person that all his sinful reactions will go away, not only from the past, but he cannot think of whatever, he cannot even think of all that the sinful reactions within the heart will also be eradicated. So this is the power of the holy name. So we'll stop here. I am sorry that I took 6 minutes more than scheduled. But the last session tomorrow is coming up, ultimate purpose of all religions. So we will discuss about this point of who should be the object of my worship. Why should I worship Krishna? Why are you talking about only Krishna or Rama or Narayana? Why are you not talking about Shiva? Why are you not talking about Ganesh? Why are you not talking about Christianity? Why are you not talking about Muslim? Why, if everybody is a religion, all religions are same, then why do you only recommend this path, that path? All those confusions, or why religions are fighting with each other, why people are converting from this to that. Can we explain all this? Can we discuss all this? So that is the 7th session that we'll be coming up with. I hope this session made some sense to you. Questions are there, you can ask. If no questions are there, we can stop. I hope our discussion was fruitful, and the questions which were there in the mind are automatically, answered, removed from this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Can we stop?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat Parag Prabhu. How are you? How is your married life?
Absolutely fine, Prabhuji.
Yes, great to know that. Very happy to
I have
know.
one question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Gita knowledge applicable to both male and female equally, no?
Yes, Prabhuji. It is applicable to everybody.
Okay, there is no.
Because Bhagavad Gita speaks about soul. It doesn't speak
Yeah,
about
yeah.
soul. Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. If any questions, if they come to your mind later on also, our WhatsApp group is always there. Thank you very much for patiently hearing, and let us meet on the next Saturday for the last session. Today Jainar Hari Prabhu was due to take, but somehow or the other he instructed me to take this session. He is busy and will be taking a session in the afternoon. So you missed the chance to hear him, but the next session probably I will only take. It was scheduled for me only, but if he can take, then we'll discuss. But 7th session on the next Saturday will meet again. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhu.